Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. This is Pamela, and you are watching Pam Entertainment TV, where we review movies, television series, and incidents in pop culture. And we also review and have commentary on celebrity legal news. All right, y'all, housekeeping, y'all, please hit that like button. And if you like what you see, subscribe. Today, we are going to be reacting to a video of the Kendrick Lamar halftime show press conference interview. Now, the wonderful thing about this, Kendrick Lamar doesn't give too many interviews. So, this is a great time for us to be looking at and reviewing uh, the interview, and to see if we can figure out what perspectives that he has in regards to the show. If they're going to ask him any questions about Drake or anything, if they're going to ask them any questions about performing Not Like Us. So we're definitely going to listen to that. But I also want to be able to let you all know that Daneska and Ebro interviewed several other people that are going to be involved with the overall show for the NFL Super Bowl. So there were great interviews with the pregame performers, Lettucey, John Baptiste, Trombone Shorty, and Lauren Daigle. So check that interview out. It was very eye-opening. Wonderful thing, we found out that most of the performers are from the New Orleans area. Just a great interview. We also were able to have interviews with the deaf interpreters. I did not know until they told us that sign language is the number 4 language number 4 language in the United States. And I think it can increase. And if you all are interested in being a sign language interpreter, you can definitely go to different classes. It is a very big business, and particularly big business for those of the deaf community. Had a lot of insight from them about how hard it was, because this country is a hearing country, a seeing and speaking country. So if you have one of those abilities taken away, it gets very hard for you. But they have shown how that they have inked out a path for them in this world and in this country, with them being deaf. So I'm so excited to hear that they are performing. They are doing the sign language interpretation for the pregame show and for the halftime show. All right, so let's get into the interview with Kendrick Lamar. So right off the bat, we've got to get this in here. Copyright disclaimer: under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, education, and research. Fair use is permitted by copyright statute that may otherwise be infringing. So I want to be able to let you know that we're going to be reviewing this recording of Kendrick Lamar's halftime interview. So we are going to be stopping and starting and I'm going to be giving my commentary in regards to it. All right, people, let me share my screen, and we're about to do this.
Speak for the man better than himself. Please welcome Kendrick Lamar.
Now I'm going to be muting it as well, because there's going to be music being played, and it's copyright music, and we don't want to be involved in listening and playing that copyright music. So I'm just going to make sure that
Kendrick, it's a little bit surreal to actually see you in the flesh, because you've always made it a point of just letting the music speak for yourself, which is something I really respect. But the spotlight has been shining so bright the past few months. I've just been wondering how you've been processing behind the scenes, how you've been feeling about everything happening, all the success.
It's just really just I want to look at it like it's just a continuum of who I am. Really, I've always stayed to myself. I've always been in my own bubble.
When I heard that, y'all, the first thing that hit me was the fact that Kendrick Lamar is an introvert. And a lot of us that are out here doing YouTube videos and all these little different things that I have found out is that we are introverted personalities. Now um, they are in professions that would give you the that would lead you to believe that they are extroverts, simply because the entertainment business and being on stage and all that stuff with the lights and stuff, that seems like an extroverted personalities thing that they would do. And possibly you're right. But a lot of times when we see these artists and we'll say, oh, they're so standoffish, they don't give any interviews, they don't do anything like that. And a lot of that has to do that they are very focused in on their work. And I think that makes it, I think that when we saw the battle go down, people were like, oh, well, Kendrick only drops a couple of things. He's not going to really think he's not going to be able to do that. Because again, Drake has an extroverted type personality. So he was always in your face. He was always, he loves to be on social media. He loves to do all these little different things. So people thought, oh my goodness, he's going to wash away Kendrick because of the fact that Kendrick doesn't come out. And if you listen into the lyrics of the song, the one lyric that lets me understand that, hey, he hears everything that's going on. He may not respond to it because it may not be as important to respond as in that one lyric is, sometimes you just got to pop out and show people. And that told me then, if I didn't understand it any other time, that told me then that Kendrick Lamar definitely was like an introverted personality, and he just completely is in it for the love of the music. And we hear that too on his Grammy speech. He says, respect the art form. So let's continue.
Whether it's with the fam or whether it's training, how I process it all is just I continue to do what I was doing 10 years ago, and that's like better in myself, better in the craft, and not look at it as bright lights. And it may sound cliche, but it always worked for me, even when I was young, playing sports or being in the forefront of presentations and stuff like that. It was like I gotta look at myself in the mirror rather than looking at it as a crowd or fame and attention.
And as you heard that, you really can kind of see that that's what's happening. He's definitely into the music for the art form. He's into the music for not for the fame and stuff like that, but it's for the art form and his personality and how he carries himself. You can definitely see that that's something. Let's see what the next question that they ask of Mr. Lamar. And y'all, please hit that like button. Uh-oh.
So now, early days of your career, Section 80 days, even early mixtapes. You perfecting your craft as an MC. Did you ever think we'd be at the Super Bowl with this?
I wasn't thinking about no Super Bowl.
You never thought about the Super
I
Bowl?
wasn't thinking about no Super Bowl for sure. We was thinking about the best verse and how we go split this $5 at Church's Chicken or something like that. It wasn't no Super Bowl. Going to the studio and getting a meal. But I think what I know is the passion I have now is still the passion I had then. And I think that carried on to the Super Bowl. So it was all about being present. As long as I was present in the studio and present in whatever that line was or whatever that mistake was, rapping or doing hooks or choruses or whatnot, I was present in that moment. I felt that passion. I think being present and not actually foreseeing everything kept me in a grounded state of mind in order to be at big stages like this.
I think
so. I don't know if I have any big commentary in regards to that particular statement. It was a good question. I think he answered it fairly. So let's continue.
think we felt that presence and that focus in your work for the past 15 years. Like Ebro said, going all the way back to projects like Overly Dedicated. And so seeing you perform with Dr. Dre at the halftime show 3 years ago, we already felt like that was the most hip hop, beautiful halftime show ever. And now for you to come back and be the first solo hip hop artist to headline, how does it feel being the artist to hit that milestone? And, just your thoughts on what that means about hip hop's progression and impact over the years.
That shit, it made me think about like the grind of it. I mean, a lot of people don't see like the story before the glory, man. That shit's like shuffling out your mixtapes and going to neighborhoods and parties and performing there, holding the wall spots. It reminds me of the essence and the core response of rap and hip hop and how far it can go. So for me, that should mean everything because it puts the culture on the forefront where it needs to be and not minimized to just a catchy song or verse. This is a true art form. So to represent it on this type of stage, it's like everything that I've worked for and everything that I believe in as far as the culture. Like I live and die by it. This shouldn't change my whole family life. So I don't take it for granted at all as far as the art.
I wanted to hear that. It's wonderful to hear when people talk about hip hop, because one of the things about hip hop and rapping is it started off as this art form. It started off, people were like a little standoffish about it because, it started off with a lot of samples. And however, it started off with a lot of samples, but people were always going back to the music that they sampled, and they got an appreciation and an understanding of that music. And as it's gone now, because you're looking at probably 1, 2, 3 generations that have grown up with hip hop music. And it's always interesting that you'll hear a song, somebody from my generation being a Gen Xer, you'll hear a song and we're like, oh, okay, that's a so-and-so song. And everybody is looking like, no, that's a Nelly song. Well, baby, Nelly sampled this R&B artist's song, and he took a little section of that song or the beat, and he used it to be able to make take it and morph it into a different thing. And you know what? It's almost like I had to try to explain it to my nephew one time. I said, no, it's just like having a parent, and then you have a child, and then your child has a child. There's always going to be some part of the grandchild in the from the grandparents. So there's going to be a little section, but it's gonna morph into its own person. So you know how you're like someone says you look like your parents or something. There's going to be part of you that's going to be of that initial song. There's going to be, so when a rapper or whatever, they sample a song, there's going to be a part of the original song in there, but it's going to morph into its own song. And so then when someone else hears it, they may only hear the child of the song, but and then they think that the child is the originator. No, you got to go back to the grandparent, because that's the originator. That's where that particular child gets his hair from, or he gets the way, his mannerisms or something like that. So that's the way I try to explain what they're talking about in hip hop. And so it has morphed into stuff. And what happens is people think that it's all about, having these catchy rhymes and all this other stuff. That's part of it. But the other part of it is saying what you mean and mean what you say. And a lot of things that I know as I was coming up into hip hop has always been authenticity. People were authentic to themselves. If you weren't a gangbanger, you didn't rap about being a gangbanger. If you were, there were conscious rappers. There were rappers that liked to have a good time and sing. I remember the Fat Boys. They love to eat. So they rapped about eating. They rapped about going to parties. They rapped about their relationships or lack thereof of girls. You had Biz Markie, who rapped about being played by a woman. You had Kool Mo D and Big Daddy Kane. Kool Mo D, KRS-One. KRS-One was a more conscious rapper. So was Public Enemy. They were more conscious rapper. Kool Mo D was like, I'm cool. I'm rapping about what I know and me just being a man and being cool. Same thing with Eric B and Rakim. They were very lyrical and poetic rappers, which in turn Nas was a very lyrical and poetic rapper. Jay-Z was a rapper. He was lyrical. He was poetic, but he was all about talking about how he was coming up in the game, from dealing the drugs to then leaving that alone, to being a boss in the hip hop thing, to then morphing into this businessman. and all of those types of things. Lil Wayne, you know, and then it's regional because you had the New York rappers. And then you have they have a certain usually New York rappers to me are like house, they have a good house music type situation and feel, or they have like a jazz feel. So if you hear songs that have like jazzy ominous beats and house music beats, I can, that to me is like a New York style. Rather than you go for the southern, they are more it's a laid back type of style. They have that music, but they also pull a lot of beats from gospel music. It has a, it's a laid back kind of gospel feel, but there's different regions in the South. What I'm describing is how I always listen to Atlanta music. And they always have like music from like the 70s. It's like a 70s or an 80s feel. And then you have Miami rappers that have a lot of Caribbean and Latin influences. So you'll hear a lot of those things and those beats and the way they talk and how they move and maneuver, versus someone from Louisiana. Louisiana has a lot of Cajun and Creole culture. So they have a lot of laid back types of speak and influence in there, from the Zydeco music, from second line and all that type of influences. Then you go over to the Midwest, like Chicago and all of them. They have a jazzy feel too. They have influence in a lot of uh, I wouldn't say country pop type music, things like that, old soul music, 70s soul music, almost band music. Then you get over to the West, and the West is heavily influenced by 70s and 80s funk music. They're heavily influenced, like things you hear like the Whispers, Rolls Royce, uh, funky, real funky, not disco, but more funk type music, music that'll get you bopping and stuff like that. Some 70s, because again, you have to think about it. They're out there where music, where people go to make music. So they have a lot of influxes of their music. And I think when the influx of mainstream coming into rap music, there was this big emphasis, because again, with West Coast rap, you also have a lot of influence of those that are authentically saying that, like they're gangsters, there's gangs and all that other stuff. When the influx of a lot of mainstream music, and I am speaking of, and we can be very clear, like white folks coming into music, you know, again, a lot of people like Black trauma as a commodity. And so that's what we started to see. And so when you started talking about those conscious rappers, again, those laid back Southern rappers, Miami rappers that were like partiers and stuff like that. And also too in Midwest, because also in the Midwest, in Chicago, that drill music started to happen. Now, drill music and gangster, drill music from the Midwest and gangster music from the West, uh, a lot of people in the mainstream gravitated to that, because again, Black trauma in Black American trauma sells, whether in all entertainment mediums. I don't like it, but I am realistic to know that that's the truth, that that type of music sells. And so we saw a lot of influx of a lot of that music. So a lot of angsty young white males gravitated to that music. So you could kind of hear it. And also I would say about that Midwest music with Eminem and all of them like that, you would hear a lot of I don't want to call it degradation, but mental health issue music is what I want to call it. You can definitely tell that. And I think that a lot of that, so you see now, even now, that was a very hot commodity. And I will say, with this battle between Drake and Kendrick, before people were only thinking about the beats and they weren't thinking about the lyrics. And it's probably after they have had the ability to sit down and marinate it, because usually it takes a little age. You start thinking about, there's no way in the world that we should have been listening and dancing to that from the lyrics that we have. Because again, People like people, and it is big business. Black trauma is a big business in the entertainment business. But what I think that Kendrick has brought out is now that you're paying attention to the lyrics, and he is one of those people that is a student of his art form. So when you hear people say, well, Kendrick fans are always looking for the double and triple and quadruple entendres and stuff like that, but it also makes you listen to what's being said. What's being said? How is this music moving you? Is it moving you to have an introspective about things, or is it moving you into anger? Is it moving you into jealousy? Is it moving you all those different things? I think what happened here is now it's really taking a turn again, and having people to have to face what you're saying, how you're saying it, how does it affect people? Because again, he made that statement about Drake. You make music to pacify it. So they're just over there doing this. I make music to electrify, because when you're electrified, everything is, all your signals and your senses are doing this. And so you're starting to think. And that's where critical thinking comes from, because you start thinking and start asking yourself certain questions about certain things. So I think that there is a shift in that. And I hope, and the wonderful thing about that, and if you go back to my video that I did about the state of hip hop as we're going, one of the things that I hope that happens is that we stop with this only this Highlander type approach in rap music. And if you don't know what Highlander is, it was a movie, it was a television series, it was a movie, but it was also a television series back in the 90s, 90s, early 2000s. It was about immortals and Duncan MacLeod of the Clan MacLeods. And there were certain members of the immortals that only wanted to be one. And so you would have to slay the other one, take on there could only be one part or art form, or we could only celebrate this part of rap music. And remember, I just earlier talked to you about the different genres and the different regions and stuff in rap. I am hoping that now we'll have an influx of different types of rap music, meaning there are the ladies that like to talk about them getting the Negroes and doing all that other stuff, but there are a lot of ladies that like to rap about things that are conscious and things like that. And I hope that there is a bigger appetite. The way I put it is that right now the public has a tapeworm, and they're only consuming, and that tapeworm wants something sweet to eat. So they're only craving the gangster rap, the drill music rap. That's what they're the stuff that they're trying to crave right now, and those things. But now I think that with the influx of this particular battle, I think people now have decided, hey, we need to let this tapeworm pass, do what we need to do that, and then start ingesting stuff that electrifies us, that motivate the thing. We can still have the pacifying music, because there's just times when you just want to be able to just to veg out a little bit and just listen to a beat. That's fine. Go listen to sound frequencies and things like that of that nature. But I am excited about the fact that the music, the way music is being consumed now via rap, people are looking for different types of rap music other than just drill music, other than just gangster rap, because everybody's not a gangster. And this drill music, this is why you have a lot of these rappers now, either they've been pruned from the timeline or they're in a court case fighting a RICO case, because they don't have the nuance to be able to talk about a subject without actually talking about the subject. This is why they want to take rap lyrics and use them in course, because y'all are out here talking about the stuff that you're doing, a la King Von and all of them. But let's continue.
Art form,
It feels like that was a lot what this year was about too, right? Like you I guess you took it and put it on your back, and you felt like a line needed to be drawn, right? Was that your intent when you rolled out this year? Was like, yo, I'm drawing a line. Like this is what it is.
My intent was to always keep. I think from day one was to always keep the nature of it as a sport. I don't care how motherfuckers look at it as far as like as a collaborative effort. That's cool too. But I love when artists grit their teeth. Like I still watch battle raps. I still watch Smack URL from Murder Mook to Lux to Tay Rock. My bro Daylight.
Interesting. Because he said he still loves it as a collaborative effort. So he's not out here making some kind of commentary. If I'm interpreting what I hear, he's not out here making some type of uh, uh, commentary about the collaborative nature of rap music. Because, we talk about people having ghostwriters and stuff like that. That's not an issue. That's not a problem for him. Because, again, they're different people with different genres, and people have had ghostwriters since the inception of rap music. But he's talking about, he also loves people who take this art form seriously in the battle rapping and putting their lyrics out here. Because I don't know if you've been paying attention, ever since this battle, you have other rappers that are out here. You have the East Coast battling the West Coast with their rappers, with was it Rayvon and Daylight, and I can't remember the other young man's name. But it's good to see that, and they're conscious enough that this is not a bang bang shoot it up type situation. These are people who are lyricists that are battling with each other. There are different battle rap competitions that go on in the United States and possibly in the world too, and they're going back and they're battling with their words. And I think this is the issue that a lot of people had with Drake. And in him suing, is the fact that people are battling with their words. Now, whatever is being said may not necessarily be true. Let's get that pinpoint that quite clearly. Whatever is being said may not be true. We have found in this particular battle, people love to move the goalposts. Oh, well, he can't do this and he can't. No, they've been saying some diabolical stuff, as I've remembered it, ever since Ice Cube and Tupac and Nas and Jay-Z. They've said some diabolical things. Some things were true. Some things were ha ha he funny, but we knew that they were not true. And that was the thing that people had a problem with. No one had a problem with Drake being upset with what was said. He had every right to do that. But everyone talks about the fact that you're battling, y'all handle this stuff like men. You go to each other and handle it. Like, man, that was, that was ugly. You couldn't say that. And he didn't have to be in public to tell him that. They could have had a conversation about it, and it probably would have been squashed or anything like that. But it's the fact that you didn't, and that's the problem that people have. People come into the rap game, and there are certain rules. Not necessarily that they're set in stone, but usually if you're battling and if you're in a beef, you don't sue anybody because someone said something. You go to that person, and that's where the authenticity in it has to come in. Go to that person and tell them, look, man, all right. Because that's what happened with Nas and Jay-Z. They went behind the scenes. They talked about it. They squashed it. To this day, they're cool with each other. Ice Cube and Dre and them. They talked about it. They're cool with each other. And so I think that there has to be a conversation. There really does have to be a conversation. And again, it doesn't have to be that the public has to be involved. We could find out 6 months later that hey, they cool now. They're cool. They can be in the same spot with anything. And y'all hit that like button. So let's continue.
This has always been the core definition of who I am, and it's been that way since day one. So I don't think it was a thing for this year. It was always just a continuum. And what I will say about this year, it was more from a space where I think a lot of people was putting rap to the back, and you didn't see that. You didn't see that grit. You didn't see that bite anymore. So I always took that into consideration when going into any time about music.
That's interesting. So I hope this makes sense, right? We've been following your journey for about 15 years, and you have been so consistent in the messaging, the focus, like you said. You've always moved with integrity. So in a lot of ways, I feel like we thought we knew exactly who you were as an artist in a positive way. And then last year, it felt like you unlocked a whole new dimension for us. But that person, like you said, was always in there. But I'm wondering, do you still surprise yourself sometimes? Did you surprise yourself last year, or was it just us, the fans, with our jaws on the floor, just stunned?
Great question. Great question. Let's see how he answered that question. Dineska, that was a great question.
That's a good question. Surprised myself? No, I don't think I surprised myself, because this for me and for my partners that's been around me since 2005, 2006, like my brothers, they know my personality, they know my capabilities, even when it wasn't presented to the public at first, right? So this is just like a revolving door of what I've been doing in Carson Studios, at the Homie Garage, or my brothers at TD, or just anybody around the city of Compton in LA. It's just magnified to the level where I've progressed it and did enough hours to know, okay, I know where to place it now. I know how to make it connect with people.
It feels like each album too, getting to this point, was like it was an album for the culture, and it was an album for the critics. You know what I mean? And then it was for the critics,
Yeah.
and then GNX comes along, and it's like, nah. This album for anybody, everybody, and anybody who want it at any time. And you brought that energy, and the energy you brought on GNX was an energy that I don't think was really happening in hip hop. Like, it's a Public Enemy level energy. It's a Ice Cube, America's Most Wanted energy.
Sure.
Like, it's a classic, timeless energy. Talk about your headspace between Mr. Morale and this GNX.
Yeah, no, that's great.
I enjoy so far with Kendrick Lamar. I think that they're asking very good questions. I think the way that they're asking the questions, I don't think that they're going to get into that. They're not going to get into the nitty gritty of the battle, because I think he still has the Super Bowl, and I think he still has some things. No, I do understand that he is going to perform Not Like Us. Now, I don't know how he's going to perform it. Honestly, I think that because he has like a 15, I think there's 15 minutes that they have for the halftime show. I think that he's probably going to do a good melody of his songs, and it is going to be caught up in the melody. Now, it might be the last song he plays. It might be the last song he plays. I definitely would love to hear what people's set list is going to be. I think that if he comes out, I think that because you want to get them hype and get them into the thing, I think that TV off coming out to that, and everybody be able to yell mustard. I think that would be good. I don't know if he's going to do, or if it's necessary for him to do any other diss song on there. I don't see him doing Euphoria. I see more so him doing a lot of his songs from GNX. And I also see him doing what's that song? Why you babysitting on these two little shots? Da da da. I see that him doing that. I can see him doing DNA, a couple of songs off of there, or the medleys from those songs, or the biggest hooks from those songs. I think that that's what I can hear him doing. I don't know, because he did a set for the Super Bowl when they did the LA set. So I can't remember because I know he did like maybe 1.5 songs. I can't remember which ones they were. But I know that he did those songs. So he and then plus SZA's coming out. So we may hear SZA do a couple of songs. Now, a lot of people are saying that they believe that Tyler, the Creator, is going to come. Tyler, the Creator, did get out here and say, I'm on tour, but you can't tell the internet nothing. You can't tell us nothing, because somebody said, yeah, you're on tour, but instantly you are on downtime between 8th, 9th, and the 10th. I think it's the 9th. It's either he's working on the 8th, and then on the 9th and the 10th and the 11th he has some downtime. So people are like, you can just pop in, but again, he'd have to come to rehearsals and all that other stuff, come in and come for the rehearsals. So I don't know if he will make it, but it would be great to hear it. It would be nice to have it would be nice, but it's not necessary. It has never been necessary in all the Super Bowls that I've been to, that just because you have artists from that state that an artist has to perform, that has never been a norm. Again, that's a goalpost that people have moved because of when Dr. Dre performed at the Super Bowl, but it's not a necessary. But it would be nice that if a New Orleans. Now, I'm sorry, but Lil Wayne, no, because we have seen Lil Wayne in concert. He can't hardly remember his lines. I don't think he's gonna do anything but scream and holler and I just don't think. I think Master P and No Limit Soldiers and the dun dun dun. I think that that would be great. I think that would be a great song because I think that that would be great if you're going to use some New Orleans. I think that doing the Master P coming out, I would like that. So let's continue. That's just me, child.
Go back even further, man. Speaking on that energy, like it's my cousins was like DJ Quick, and Dre, these folks that my people was playing. So I always had that DNA. And, you heard that DNA a little bit on Good Kid, Mad City, but I want to tell my story first, right? And fast forward to GNX, I felt it was just a perfect time because not only the energy was lost, but it was an energy that was bubbling inside of me as well. I wanted to go back to the forefront of just the bite and just the grit of rap, just all raps and hard ass beats. And that's like the basics for me. I thought about what I used to like when I was a kid. Hard raps, good beats, that's smacking, right? And it was a great transition from Mr. Morale because that was my most intimate. I wanted to go inside of my own psyche and my own personal withdrawals and see how it connects with the public and who can relate. So during this time around, I think it was necessary coming out of the cocoon and feeling like, okay, I arrived now. I can spread my wings and show.
And again, this is the difference between people who just rap just for the to be in the rap for the glitz and glamour, and then an artist. Because regardless of what art form and music that you are in, whether you're country music, whether you are a hard rock, R&B, soul, Zydeco music, house music, or whatever it is, it's nice to hear artists take their craft seriously and go through and have their art form reflect who they are and how they have matured. And that's probably the one criticism that I've had about rap music, probably in the past like 25 years. Because what has happened is everyone seems to believe that rap music is only for the young people. And there are those of us that have enjoyed rap music and continue to enjoy rap music. However, how I listened to rap music when I was 19 years old, listening to Luke and Hammer, I have matured enough that music is not something that I'd listen to today. And a lot of people say, well, if you listen to it then, no, that's not true. There's a lot of R&B artists that I listened to back then that I don't listen to now. And again, because lives and maturity continues. So there's always going to be a situation where you're going to mature. And I would love for rap artists to understand that and to think about their longevity in this business and start maturing with your audience. So if you're talking about chasing girls and stuff like that, it'd be nice to see you. Hey, I'm trying to settle down in this into a relationship, and it's difficult because I'm in this business, and all I see is these girls that want to throw me some tail and all this other stuff. How I'm having to then pull back from going out in the party scene and stuff like that, and now I'm being more aware and conscious of the women that I want to be around. These types of things, and that's how you can, young men, y'all can mentor to the masses with your music. Yes, you may be talking about stuff that you do young. Who hasn't? And if there's anybody that's my age that wants to try to tell you, oh, I never do, they lying. Because we're young. When you're young, you do have the ability to make things. You can't do perfection. That is the time for you to be able to get out and to make mistakes and to be able to live from it. It's harder as you get older. Do you make mistakes when you're older? Absolutely. But you have the ability to recover faster versus when you're younger. And it takes you either way. And I don't want to sound like I'm babbling, but I would love to see rap artists, older rappers, get out here and rap. There should be, just like in pop music, there's like adult contemporary music and all this other stuff. You have traditional soul R&B, you have contemporary R&B, and you have alternative. There's always, I think that there should be at least two different categories in the rap music business instead of just there should just be two or three different categories. And that way rappers can come out here and not be looked at, oh, he just old and trying. No, because there are a lot of older people. Gen Xers grew up on rap music. We grew up on it. And so we have rappers that we're fond of that we'd love to hear from now. Not necessarily singing the same stuff, but yeah, come out and do an album. I mean, listen, LL Cool J has come out with an album. I understand Redman has come out with an album. And I do believe Method Man has come out with an album. Love that. Absolutely love that. Would love for Queen Latifah to throw out a little rap here. Would love for MC Light to come out with some stuff. Would love to see those rappers that I would love to see them in that. I mean, I would love to see Uncle Luke come out with a rap album, because Uncle Luke was all about the booty shaking and the da 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 da. I would love to see him come out with an album talking about your heart health and get out here and move and everything and not call, because he's older. What is he? He's probably a grandfather at this point. Love to hear him talk about those things. Now, people are like, don't nobody want to hear that. You don't want to hear that. Stay in your generation. Stay where you are. You don't want to hear it, and that's fine. You don't have to. There could be a rap category for you. But for those of us that are older, we should be able to hear that. I think we should be able to hear that. It would be fun. But let's continue this because I don't want to make this. Let's continue.
Every state of who I am as far as Kendrick Lamar.
And you really did spread your wings. I mean, you just came off a huge Grammy wins. You walked away with 5 awards, and you won Not Like Us won for Song and Record of the Year, which in itself is remarkable. But I think for people who love and respect hip hop and the roots of this culture, the competitive spirit of it, it has been a little bit mind bending that you created this massive cultural award winning anthem out of a battle rap song. And how is that something after you got off that Grammy stage, you got home in some quiet time? What was going through your head?
I was just thinking about the culture, really. It's always definitely first. I'm not even bullshitting with you. It's like, when people talk about rap, man, the conversations I hear, they think it's just rap and it's not an actual art form. So when you put records like that at the forefront, it reminds people that this is more than just something that came 50 years ago. They forget that it's even been here 50 years, right? And like kind of like belittle it. So I love to see that it gets that type of recognition for just straight raps, from awards to the billboards, all that, because this is truly just as big as an art form and a genre as any other genre. So that's what I think about, and I feel accomplished being able to do that. Whether somebody else come behind me and do it again and quadruple it, I love to see it. If that was my purpose to do that, then that's exactly what it was for that particular moment.
I think people often miss the significance of that Record and Song of the Year award, because that Song of the Year award is a songwriter's award. Like, it's not just the biggest song. It's like someone wrote a song, and you as a song.
Oh, okay. So why don't they say that? Songwriter. So Song of the Year and Record of the Year. The record is I guess, maybe the popularity of the record and how it impacted the zeitgeist. And the song is the songwriter. They're writing the song. They are giving a Grammy to the person that wrote the song. Got you. Because a lot of us were like, here, isn't Song of the Year and Record of the Year the same thing? No, they're two different things. Thanks, Ebro, for that.
Writer, when you see your name up there and it's written by Kendrick. And that's it. Yeah. That's powerful. And I think to what you're saying, I think there's a lot of people who have become fans of hip hop, and they you like the songs you hear and know, but you're not actually tapped into the work that it takes to generate the output, the art.
Exactly, man. As a writer, and that's what I can appreciate the most. And knowing how much time I dedicated over the years and just trial and error, writing the most terrible shit to some of the greatest shit. We all do it, from writer's block to figuring out how to find inspiration from the most non-popular aspects around me. So it's like, knowing that trial and knowing what I put in as far as my thinking process and what it takes to get there, I do not look at it as a small endeavor because it's a hit record. No, it's actually some writing in that shit. Whether it connect with you on a spiritual level, whether it connect with you on a comedic level, whether it connect with you just on a personal dynamic, it's still from a writer's point of view.
All right. What I want to do is, I think he's answered, but I do want to get to the part. And like I said, I didn't want to do this to go over the whole interview. I did want to go over some highlights and stuff. Yes, I think we're here. So we had the young people were able to ask some questions. I hope I'm at the right spot. If not, I'll go back 10 seconds.
How do you prepare for such a big performance? Do you have a favorite way to stay healthy and active?
Yeah. I do some laps, whether some sprints. If we talking about, let's go from from a physical level. I do that. Maybe it's a 2 mile warm up or a mile warm up. Maybe some push ups, just to get the body moving. Sometimes you be out on that stage, man, and you need some oil on your knees a little bit to get moving and get cranky. So
that is one thing I think I hope to see in rap music that people pay close attention to, is the fact that when you are performing, it's one thing, because there is a thing we used to say that you can tell when an artist is a studio artist versus a performer. And it's very clear when you're up there performing, it is like a sport. You've got to get your wind back up. You got to do that. Even if you're just standing there singing, you having to use your diaphragm to be able to stand there and sing. So you have to build up that stamina. So when you hear artists like this, they talk about it. It's more than just you getting up there and then you're winded. And I don't know if you've ever seen current rap concerts, because I know rap concerts that I went to when you had like Heavy D and the Boys and MC Hammer and all of them. And even when you talk about R&B artists like Jodeci and New Edition and all of them, they were more performing artists. And so they had shows, they moved, they did all this other stuff. Now people are have a backtrack that's rapping, and it's rapping with them because they're running out of breath because of the fact that they think that, oh, I just will get up and get on stage. And then they don't have a performance. They're just up there. And that's why they don't make as much money as, say, a rapper like a Kendrick Lamar and even a rapper like Drake. They don't make money like that because they recognize that it requires for them to do a performance. So they have to get their wind up. They have to do things to keep their breath up. And so you'll see a lot of people saying, oh, I went to the concert, and, I have seen concerts on television, and you will see those rappers running back and forth across the stage. And there's like 11 people on that stage, and if I don't know what you look like in the beginning as a rapper, I'm confused. I'm like, well, who was up here rapping? Why is there 70 some people up here? Those people don't need to be on stage, because I've said it before and I'll say it again. As an artist, there's an energy exchange. You start giving us energy, and then we as the crowd will then give you back that energy. And what happens is you have all these people on the stage, these non-important people on the stage, they're sucking up your energy. And you need to get them off your stage. Put a jumbotron in the back where you get dressed, and have your people be there, because they're not necessary. If they're not part of the show, they're not necessary to be on stage. And that's why a lot of people don't go to rap concerts, or you don't get a good show of rap concerts, because people, everybody's initially excited to see you, but once you've done a tour, people already recognize that, hey, you don't have a good tour. You don't have a good set piece. You don't have a good thing or nothing. And one of the things that you can definitely the difference between men and women rappers, people like Nicki and Megan, they usually have sets and dancers and perform. There's always a performance. With women, there's always a performance going on. Men are just like standing around, just like rapping and running, and they're out of breath. And so it's not a good show. You may have a good song, but you may not. A lot of times, if you don't know how to perform that song, just stay a studio rapper and do videos and do talking tours, do festivals and stuff like that, to where you can do this number right here with the crowd and with the mic. Let's continue. Let's let these young people answer their questions.
Physically, I'm just exercising the body a little bit, stretching a little bit, all that. And on a mental level, I'm usually playing some Isley Brothers just to calm not my nerves, but calm my excitement. Just give it a balance, So that's my prep right before I go out.
Thank you, Hayes. Thank you so much. And now Alvin Williams. How you doing, sir?
What's up, Kendrick?
What's up, man?
I'm a little with Big Brother and Big Sister New Orleans. What has mentorship meant to you during the course of your career? And if you could thank your mentors for believing in you, what would you say?
Love it when young people have great questions. All right, let's see what he says.
Oh man, mentorship has been everything. To be around individuals that experienced every little thing that you think that you're the first person to go through, do it with. It's a difficult task when you're a young individual, because you're like, you don't know what you're talking about. But as you progress and you're like, damn, he or she was right, you begin to understand life a little bit better and not be so judgmental to people that have been here before you, right? The greatest thing I would say mentors a couple mentors that given me was like affirmation, to always give myself space to believe in who I am, even when I wasn't feeling it, right? You can accomplish so many small things or big things, and you still can fall in a slump where you doubt yourself. And even though these mentors haven't seen the spaces and been in the places I've been in, it was always time to allow me to share exactly who I am, or how they see me, and what I'm capable to give to the world. And I think that goes a long way, from people in the highest places and the lowest places. We all need them.
Thank you.
All right. There was a couple of questions I do believe at the end, but like I said, I do want to encourage you to go watch it. We're not going to watch the whole thing. I do want to encourage you to go watch this. What do you all think about this interview? I thought it was fascinating. Again, because I've not seen, I haven't watched very many videos with him, and I'm very excited to see him speak. And I did love the fact that they spoke to all the little different people who are going to be performing during the Super Bowl. So that was exciting. So what do you all think? How did you feel about the Kendrick Lamar interview? Again, I think there's several other people that are being interviewed, so y'all go check that out. All right, people, we do this every week. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Please share this video if you care. Y'all, please tell a friend, tell a kin, tell a coworker, tell that heifer that you can't stand that I'm over here making these videos. And as always, people, bye-bye. Enjoy the Super Bowl.